We were just talking about how we deal with crisis, but sometimes we've had a long habit of not addressing things, of getting in a quasi comfortable space of uncomfortability, saying, it's okay, things are okay, I'm fine. Why do I need to confront this dark space or these skeletons in my closet? I seem to keep sort of going on, and no crisis has encumbered me yet. But we know that's really not the case, is it?
No, it's not. In fact, as I hear you describe it that way, my mind is drawn to a passage I just preached from at our church in Hebrews chapter 12, the first few verses of Hebrews 12. The writer is telling believers to run the race well that is set before them, and he uses imagery there from a track meet. You know, the course, the track, the race that you're running. I ran track a little bit when I was in school, so I know what's important to run well. You dress a certain way, you train a certain way. So if you want to run well, if you want to win or at least do your best, then it's not okay for you to violate all those rules. In one sense, to wear weights. Okay, if you're going to wear a lot of weights, you're going to wear a lot of heavy clothing. You can say, you know what, it's okay that I do that. I'm okay with it. Things are just fine. And everybody else around you is looking at you going, it's not fine. You're covered with weights. You got heavy clothes on. You can't run a race that way.
Exactly.
And so the author of Hebrews actually puts it in those terms. He says in Hebrews 12, lay aside every encumbrance and every sin that entangles you. So whether it's good things, even hobbies and encumbrances, sometimes those can distract us too much. And certainly every sin that entangles you so that you can run the race well. I think somebody who says, I'm fine, things are okay, I don't need to change, I don't need to grow, really that's just another example of them deceiving themselves, and people around them know it's not true.
Absolutely.
It's like the little kid who has chocolate on his lips and his mother asks him, have you been in the cookie jar? And he goes, no, I haven't. Everybody around him knows he has. And so I would encourage the person who's deceiving himself with those words to look at Hebrews 12 and say, what is it, if I'm going to run well, really run well this race of life, what is it I need to lay aside? What is I need to be honest about so I'm not entangled by things? And I tell you, there's something in that racing imagery that's really, really encouraging. That imagery of Hebrews 12 comes right after Hebrews 11, where there's this great chapter of all these people who had faith in God. And the examples that are given there are not necessarily, well, they're not at all perfect people. They were not perfect. They had sin, they had mistakes. But there's some in there, frankly, like Isaac and Jacob. Their lives, by and large, were not the greatest to look at for examples. But you know what? At the end, they finished well. They came to a Y in the road where they had to realize, do I trust God or not? And toward the end of their lives, they made the right decisions at the end. And they still finished the race well. And that's why they're listed there. And so that is encouraging. If you've not been running well, if you've made some mistakes, if you've gone off on the wrong course,
Right.
you can still make the right choice. Lay aside every encumbrance and the sin that entangles you. You can take a step and start running the race well. And even if you're toward the end of your life, you can actually finish still well.
That's
So
right.
what an encouragement that is to all of us.
Absolutely. Well, listen, thank you so much, and we hope to visit with you again soon.
It's been a joy.